Hello and welcome back to the channel once again. My name is Hollow and by God am I excited to talk to you about the shocking reveal of Demons Souls for the PlayStation 5. A full, from the ground up, genuine remake of that original masterpiece that led us to where we are now with the Dark Souls series, Bloodborne, Sekiro. I'm over the moon with the reveal that not only were the remaster leaks genuine, but they were somehow less important and less stunning than the truth, which is that this is a remake, not a remaster. If you don't know what that means, it's basically that this isn't just some visually improved version of the original game like the Dark Souls 1 remaster. It's so much more than that. They're taking the original game, that storyline, world, gameplay, and rebuilding it from the ground up for the PlayStation 5 specifically. Imagine Dark Souls 3 or Sekiro quality gameplay in the Demons Souls world. It's exactly what I was begging for with the Dark Souls 1 remaster, which I was heavily disappointed by. Not only will we play through the original game, but it'll be a totally fresh experience entirely due to the new engine that it's being built on. The combat will be much more fluid and functional than that dated clunkiness of the Demons Souls original or Dark Souls 1, which will just be a memory thankfully. Plus, the animations, the world, the bosses themselves will all function as if this game was originally made for 2020, so they'll be a lot more interesting and, with that, probably exciting and difficult to fight. It's a big deal and something I never even dared to hope for after the remaster that we were doled out of Dark Souls 1. Now this remake comes from Blue Point Games, the same people who made the fantastic remake of Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4. Those are obviously trusted hands. But on top of that, they're working with Sony's Japan studio who worked on Bloodborne. What a matchup! Demons Souls originally released over 11 years ago now, in 2009, and at the time it was brutally difficult compared to any other game on the market, and the very first title to introduce From Software's unique online systems like summoning and invading. From Software took this foundation and built on it, expanding and polishing the many systems that this game was the very first to try. It is why we have the top tier From Software games that we know today, and to hear that they're remaking the game completely with everything that they've learned since in mind, I mean, that's awesome. But what's even more exciting is the quote, enhanced experience via the new fractured mode. Now, what on earth does that mean? I wish I could tell you directly, but currently there's just no information about this out just yet. But it's clearly an alternative mode of play, most likely for a more dedicated, hardcore player. I imagine it's going to feature mechanics that make the game more difficult, limiting the player in one or multiple ways. Interestingly though, on a different note, they've added two gameplay options that allow us to focus on either graphics or performance, which I've never seen on any console game before, explaining that in the performance mode, we can expect consistent and stable FPS throughout the whole game, so I guess they're aiming big with the new ability of the PlayStation 5, and want to see what it's actually capable of without risk, so they're giving players the option to ignore that in favor of performance if they want to, which is probably a good thing. This is set to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. We did not see any timeline or expected release for this one either, which surprised me because I expect this to come out well before Elden Ring, the current main stage title From Software are developing right now. I'd say we're all a little sad to not hear anything about Elden Ring at this event, but to be honest with you, I kind of expected that. These games take a long time to create, and they announced it well before we should expect any real gameplay. However, unlike the Dark Souls 1 remaster, this should tide us over to Elden Ring much better. I'm praying for this to be a launch title for PlayStation 5, which is set to come out later this year of 2020. Who knows though, but I don't expect it to come out long after the release either way. Ultimately though, this cinematic is just a cinematic. It shows proof of concept with the beautifully rendered versions of those old bosses. The Storm King, shown first, that giant storm beast, the Tower Knight, the absolute Chad. My question is, where are those archers on the side? I don't see them anywhere. I'm not certain, but this might be a version of the Fool's Idol here. Obviously then we've got this old bastard, the Flame Lurker. God, he was brutal. I'm looking forward to being able to actually dodge this guy in a non-clunky manner. And then finally, the terrifying Dragon God, which was our first experience with Souls doing a cat and mouse style situation, like we saw much improved later on with the giant snake in Sekiro. Can you imagine King Alent's fight in this level of fidelity? God damn, that's gonna be nuts. He's still arguably the best boss fight in any of the Souls games. Alright, so there's all the info I have for you about this surprise remake, and it's clear I'm very, very excited about it, I'd say. Are you a Souls series fan? Because if not, you really should be. This is going to be a brilliant way to experience the series for the first time if you haven't. But honestly, don't wait. Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, or Sekiro are all brilliant titles to first touch the series with. You don't have to start at the very beginning or like with Dark Souls 1 or something. With this and Mortal Shell news coming out right next to each other, it's a pretty good time for the Souls-like fans to be sure. But anyway, for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'll see you next time.